we move on to the technical session for our faculty development program. It is my great pleasure to introduce our first distinguished esteemed speaker for today, Dr. Richa Gupta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, School of Engineering Sciences and Technology, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. Ma'am is an accomplished academician with over 18 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic administration. She holds a BTech in Information Technology, an MS degree from Sweden, and a PhD from Jamia Hamdard. Her research interests span artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, cryptography, optimization techniques, and healthcare applications. She has published numerous research papers in reputed international conferences and SCI and Scopus Index journals, contributed book chapters, served as a reviewer for leading scientific journals, and is an active member of professional organizations such as IEEE, IETE, and ISTE. In recognition of her outstanding contributions, she was recently honored with the IEEE Outstanding Woman in Engineering Award by the IEEE Indian Council. Today's session is on the topic Foundation of Machine Learning and Machine Learning for Healthcare and Pharmaceutical Applications. Machine learning has emerged as a transformative force in healthcare, enabling predictive analytics, intelligence, clinical decision making, personalized medicine, and innovative pharmaceutical research. This session will provide participants with a strong foundation in understanding how machine learning is revolutionizing healthcare and pharmaceutical sciences. We are truly delighted and honored to have Dr. Richa Gupta with us today to share her expertise and valuable insights. Ma'am, the virtual platform is all yours. Please join us.
Thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to
Joining us.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm greatly thankful to Sharyar sir, Uma ma'am for giving this opportunity, considering me for this FDP. I'm also thankful to Pradeep sir and Vibhu sir and Akhil sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity again. Now, today we would be talking about AI and ML and its applications in the emerging field of AI and ML. But before we start with what AI AML applications, it is very important to understand what is AI, what is ML. So let me share my screen. I would request the organizer to kindly give me the sharing rights.
Ma'am, we are making you co-host.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Is it done?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So we start with the foundations of ML for healthcare and pharmaceutical applications. But before we start and dive into the application, it is very important for us to know what is AI, what is ML, as we have been hearing about it a lot nowadays. In every application, we know AI and ML has taken its space, has taken into, and more sooner or later, everything will be dependent on AI and ML. So let's first see what is the foundations, what are the basics we need to understand, even if the new pharmaceutical pharmaceutical engineers would be designing the applications. So they need to understand what are the basics of AI, what are the basics of ML. So to start with, what is AI? Of course, it is a branch of computer science, but where the machines and computers can mimic, can think like a human. They can learn just like as we humans do, and they can solve the problems as we humans can do. But why it is called artificial intelligence? Because it is outside our human body, and it is something we are going to do it artificially in a machine, in a system. That is why it is called artificial intelligence. When we talk about various terms like AI, ML, deep learning, and nowadays we are also hearing about generative AI, what is the difference between all these terminals? It is important to understand first. Why? The reason being because we anyhow use one term for the other while they all are different from each other. So AI is the broadest concept. It is an umbrella term where we use all kinds of application. Wherein we are using machine learning technologies, we are using deep learning technologies, we are using generative AIs. So it is just like an umbrella, and under which we are having different subsets. So machine learning is a subset of AI, wherein you only talk about machines which are learning the data and with that for that we are designing the explicitly these kinds of machines. But within the machine learning, we have deep learning. We are using artificial neural networks. What is artificial neural networks? That is when we are designing the algorithm based on neural networks. What is neural networks? Just how our neurons in our brain work, in our entire system, the neurons are working. Taking that concept into the picture, we develop neural networks. Just neural network is same like neuron network in our human body. So from there we have neural network, and it is outside our human body. Call it artificial neural network because we are going to design the algorithm in that particular sense as how the neurons work. So when we are just talking about neural network, then those algorithm comes under deep learning, and deep learning is further the subset of machine learning algorithms. Now, nowadays, a new terminology is that is Gen AI or generative AI has came up also. Now, Gen AI creates new kind of content. What nowadays, like ChatGPT, like Claude, like Gemini, is helping. You just give it is based on like prompt engineering. You give the prompt you want to do, right? You just write down, okay, create a, let's say, image base which should have these terms, and it will automatically create the image, right? The best example, if I give you, the image you are seeing right now. It is by the prompt engineering. It is designed by the generative AI. So algorithms which just take a very small data as an input, that is where we start with, and it's the output as per your wish, as what you want. Then that is the generative AI. You don't have to give entire sentence as an input, and but just a phrase, what you wish. You don't want to write the entire thing, but you just have something in your mind. You thought like, okay, I want to have a picture, or I want to have a poster, I want to have a, let's say, email which should have, let's the pharmaceutical application, let's say the drug designing, let's say the clinical trials. So you just put all these and you tell, okay, write an email to the CEO of the company or to the HR of a company. So it will do it on its own, right? So that is generative AI. And generative AI is for deep learning. Now, to do all these things to come up to the generative AI, there's a lot of training which is being done on the data sets. That means we are teaching the algorithms. It is just like when we were kids. We all can recognize the alphabets right now, what is written in the PPT in front of you. You know that any symbol which resembles A is actually A. How we get to know? Because when we were young, then we have by our teachers, we are being made to learn that any image which looks like the slanting line and it is cut by a sleeping line, that means it is a A. We have to always recognize it's A, and it is universally, whether you are here, you are anywhere outside India or in any part of India, A will be said as A, right? So we have spent our younger age into recognizing what is A. Then we have joined together A, B, different characters to understand what are the words, what are the sounds. So we learn them. Now, when we have grown up, when we combine these together, we understand, oh, this resembles this word, and this, just on seeing, we can automatically say, oh, this is Apple, oh, this is cryptography, this is bioinformatics, this is healthcare, right? Because we have already been trained on those words, on these characters when we were too young, right? So that means we've been trained, and now we are coming and looking at different words, and that is our testing, that what we have been trained on, whether we have actually gained the information or not, right? So that is what the our intelligence have helped us to do. So this is learning, this is training, and then we have came up into testing. In the same way, as per our knowledge, we are designing a system where we are using AI. But further AI, what kind of application we are having, whether it uses machine learning. So then we go to the machine learning, but further into machine learning, there are a number of algorithms. Which kind of algorithm? Are we looking at a neural network, supervised learning? Okay, we are going then into deep learning, detail into the learning, complex learning techniques, and further into that learning, just by looking into some phrases, we are able to recreate the entire scenario, right? That is generative AI. So we are getting deep, 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 deep. Then we are getting into the generative AI. So this is a small part of the AI. Now, very important, how AI works actually. So AI works amount of data set, and besides that, it also on that data set, we have various rules which we math rules. Math rules means it can be a logical ruling. So you apply a logics on your data, and then the processing is being taken on within an algorithm, and you come up with an output. Those can be any patterns, those can be any guesses, right? So that how the AI works. Now there are three main parts. That is data, that is a model in which a data gets into, and of course your rules get into, and the model takes two inputs, and gets trained up, and it gives you output in the form of predictions or guesses, patterns. Now, when you get the output, then you test on a new kind of data set, which you wish that now we want to see whether whatever we have trained, has it been able to train, are we able to train it well or not? So we take a new kind of data set and we train on that particular, we test on the new data set, and we see whether what we have trained is right or not, right? So now, further, what is machine learning? As now we got to know, AI, artificial intelligence, is an umbrella, and there are various components. Now, getting into it, what is machine learning? Because nowadays, lots of machine learning techniques are being used. So it is a subset of artificial intelligence which focus on training the computer algorithms, which I'm not saying that only a engineer can do. Further, when you will be well versed with this FTP, I'm sure all of you would be able to design the algorithms to recognize any pattern and to make the predictions to see whether it is predicting right or not on from the data without being explicitly defined. Now, very important here, I want to tell you that many times we just uh, we just use the keywords like data and information with each other. We design an analogy between them. Instead of data, we speak out information. Instead of information, we speak data. But we need to understand that these two terms are entirely different. Data is something which is not processed. It does not hold any meaning. That is why we give to the models, to any system, data as an input. But when you process on this data with some rules into the system, then you get an output. And this output is called the information, which is useful data. A data which has a meaning is called the information. And that's what we human can understand. If I ask anyone and say, okay, so ML, I say reinforcement, I say learning, you would be like, what are you talking about? So these are the keywords. You won't be able to understand. But if I say one kind of ML algorithm is reinforcement learning, oh, so this is what you mean. So when I enter the keywords, that is a data. But after processing it into the algorithm, an algorithm is in a processor. Then after processor has processed on it, you get the output, which is the information and is also called as meaningful data, right? Now, types of, there are three different types of ML machine learning algorithms: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Let's look into different kinds of algorithms. First, what is supervised learning? Supervised learning, when a model is trained on a labeled data and a pre-processed to prove and is pre-processed to predict the outcomes and classify data accurately. Right now, when we say it that to classify, what do you mean by labeled data? What do we mean by pre-process to predict the outcomes? Right. So, and how we classify. So here come the supervised. As the terminology says, supervised learning. That means someone is supervising you. Someone is helping you to know how you have to train your data, which you are going to, that is the input, right? So someone is helping you to know that, okay, when you are entering something, some data, this is this kind of data, this is another kind of data. For example, in the figure itself, now we have labels. As you can see, we have labels here that shows if this kind of image you see, it will be termed as elephant. So I have entered all together. These are the rules, right? Labels here, for example, we'll move ahead and we understand what are labels, what are features. But for now, we understand this label data is the set of data which we are entering into the algorithm, right? Now, but how will we say that this is a chemical, sorry, this is a camel, this is an elephant, this is a cow? For that, we have also given the input which says if this kind of image is there, it is elephant. This kind of image is a cow. This kind of image is a camel. So along with this data set, I have also entered that what kind of image, if you see this kind of image, you should classify, or you should make it a cluster where it will be a elephants, right? So I have entered these two things into my algorithm. This algorithm is a supervised, wherein why supervised? Because in this algorithm, I'm inputting two kind of things. One is a label data, and to supervise that data, to train that data, I'm also telling that what kind of image, if you see, what you should say. Something like, if I see an image of an apple, I should speak, oh, this is an apple. If I see an image of a banana, that means I should be saying it's a banana, right? So in an algorithm, the processing, it takes the input, then it goes to the processing, it looks into this kind of labels, and then it will identify each image in the label data, and we'll see, oh, this kind of image, that means this kind of image was cow. So it will classify it as cow. So it has classified each and every image into the different cluster. This is supervised. You have already given some data for training it, right? So this is a supervised learning technique. So here the model learns from the label data, meaning each input has a correct output. Why? Because you have also entered the labels. So every input you give, you will get the output, and it will be 99% times it is always correct out. The model compares its prediction with the actual result and improves over time to increase the accuracy. When you now you have trained it once, now if I give this output you have given, that means every time this kind of labels it sees in a data set, it will classify it. But when I give us something new data, let's say I entered a lion image, right? Now I want to see whether my algorithm is working correct or not, right? So what it will do, since I have trained it as per this image, so it will see the line, oh, whether it is in this label, no. Algorithm will see, oh, the new testing data which came, it has nothing what I have already been trained into, right? So it will process and it cannot classify. It will say it is not in the list or it is something like that. It is there is an error, and then you can further, if some kind of error comes or if it says that it is not on the list, you can further enhance your training data. From that image, you can again train your algorithm for the new data sets, right? So with this, your algorithm will keep increasing its accuracy, right? Now we have two kinds of supervised learning algorithms, classification and regression. A classification when we have well-defined labels, and regression when we don't have well-defined labels. Labels means output, what we get, right? Now let's take an example and we understand it. Now for this particular table, if you see, we have user ID, we have gender, age, salary, right? And we want to see whether um, irrespective of data set, if someone in a data set for this particular classification table, if I talk about in a data set where we are talking about a shopping store, we want to predict whether a customer will purchase a particular product or not. And it is not based on its gender, it's not based on its salary, or it's not based on its age, right? Uh, so in case, let's say, if I enter the gender, I enter the age, I enter the salary, so it has nothing to do with it, but still I am entering all these data and I am getting the output purchase in the form of 0 or 1. That means 1 means yes, the customer will purchase something, 0, customer is not purchasing something. So you have a very crisp idea, yes or no. So you can easily classify whatever for the given inputs that customer, the output is yes or no. Very crisp data, crisp outputs. Why, on the other hand, when we talk about regression here, right? In the regression, let's say in a meteorological data set, when we talk about temperature, when we talk about humidity, when we talk about wind speed, right? We take into different parameters, like we take dew drops, dew points, temperature, humidity, wind direction, pressure, lot of things we take into account. And the output, what we are getting after reading all these data sets, the wind speed is different, right? So the data set is not crisp, it is vague every time, right? So we cannot have a straight line if we want to plot on a graph. It will keep on either going up and either dip down, right? So in this case, it's a regression. When we don't have a very crisp data set, we know that out of this given input, the output is not going to be crisp. We will have a vague values, different values. And then in those applications, we use a regression supervised learning algorithm. But when we know that we can easily classify our data, our output into yes or no, whether a customer will buy or not, into these kinds of application for the given inputs, then we use a classification techniques, right? So it is very important to understand that whatever data you are taking, what is a predicted or what could be the expected outcome you are expecting from that input, whether it is a crisp or not crisp. If it is a crisp, use a classification algorithm for that application. If it is not crisp, use a regression algorithm if you want to use a supervised learning technique, right? So what are these are the few applications in the real world where the supervised learning techniques are used. fraud detection, right? So uses labeled transaction data to identify and predict fraudulent activities, whether it's a spam, whether it's a fraud or not, right? So using a specific type of signatures we have in those spam activities and fraud activities, we can identify whether this particular new activity will be under fraud or not. Then we have Parkinson disease prediction, wherein the for a medical data for given set of, let's say, tests, you have conducted various tests, blood test or any other hormonal test you have conducted. And for those tests, for various symptoms which have been read by the doctors, they can actually predict yes or no. That means Parkinson is there or Parkinson is not there, looking at the various patterns they are identifying into the input data set, right? Again, we can classify customer churn prediction, whether a customer uh, to predict whether a customer will use a service or not use a service. Therein, the various shopping sites use these customer churn predictions. Similarly, cancer cell classification and price prediction. Stock price prediction comes generally under regression technique, where we cannot have just one simple answer, yes or no, whether it will have a profit or not. It can build a profit for some time, then can come down, then again rise up into one stock market day. So this comes under the regression supervised learning algorithm. All right, I hope this much is clear to all of you. Uh, Moving ahead, we come to the unsupervised learning algorithm. Now, unsupervised is something where we are not given the information, just like the earlier one, where along with the label data, we are also given the labels to identify whether this kind of image means elephant, camel, or cow. But here we are only given a raw data set, right? And now we don't know what kind of output we will get. So we cannot train a data because we don't have anything, labels we don't have to identify whether it is a camel, whether it's a elephant, whether it's a cow, right? So the model is going to work on without label data, and it learns the pattern on its own by grouping the similar data points and finding the hidden structures or the hidden patterns without any human intervention. So if I have developed, let's say, unsupervised learning algorithm, what I'm going to do is I will take the data. Looking into the data, I will come up with some interpretations. Uh, these data points in this image itself, let's say if it is a camel, so you see it has a long neck, then there is a hump, small tail, and this kind of features I can enter or interpretation can go into the algorithms, unsupervised learning algorithms, and then the processing will go on, taking into fact that all the images in the data set who have a long neck, who have a hump, should be categorized as camel or should be categorized as one group. Then anyone which has a long nose and two tusks outside, then very heavy build, then they should be grouped together in one. They should be grouped together in one cluster. Then anyone with, let's say, small horns, long face, then that can be clubbed together as cow, right? So these, it has only collected within its own data set. If there are 6 images, from all the 6 images, they come up with their own data points. Then each will match with each other. That which data points have the same similarities, have the similarities. If any 2 images have the similarity, they will be grouped together. If 3 will have a same data points, they will club up together, right? This is how we are categorizing. We are giving the output that, okay, out of these input you have entered, these are the data points which have been referred together among each other, and then they have been classified as elephant or cow or camel. But yes, they cannot be named. name is only for our information here for the slides, but otherwise they won't be named. They will be clubbed together in one group as one data points, right? So these are the three different types of unsupervised learning algorithm. That is clustering, that is association rule, and dimensionality reduction. In clustering, there's a unsupervised learning technique that groups unlabeled into cluster based on similarities, which I just discussed. In the association rule learning, we have various rules like if then rules. If, let's say, for example, if I am a manager of a store, then I will look into and for from day one of opening a store, let's say I have found out, okay, the as per my database which I got through the billing, that everyone who has bought the milk, who has bought the bread, has also bought the eggs. So this is an association rules that if a customer buys a bread and a milk, then the customer is going to buy the uh, eggs also, right? Similarly, there we the what this will help in that the next day I get to know that who all are gonna buy these two things are going to buy eggs. So I can increase my productivity into my store, right? This will be a added benefit. Also, in case if the customer are not buying, let's say another rule there is if a customer is buying a milk but they are not having a bread. Maybe they are not buying the eggs. So in these kind of things, rules can be made. If then rules can be made, and similarly, um, those rules can be used for the next day implementation. If I tell you the very interesting fact here, you must have all you must have all visited the superstores, right? Um, say Reliance, say any of it, right? If you go to the big supermarkets, what happens is the one what you want always is at the end of the supermarket. So you have to travel all along the supermarket and to reach to your respective what you want. This is the if then rules which have been implemented because every day with the end when the store closes, they read to these patterns and they see the ones which are more into the use in one particular day or in particular month on particular week. They tend to keep those things at the back, and the ones which are very least being looked by the customer, they tend to keep it in the front. So when you're traveling from the main door to the end, what you want, let's say you every day, the customer who is coming for the milk is also buying the vegetables. So they know the customer, anyhow, 10 customers tend to do this out of, let's say, 15 customers who are visiting the store every day. So what they will do, they will keep deliberately the milk and the vegetables at the end of the store. And the ones which are very least being used or let's say once in a month have been bought, they deliberately keep it in the front. So why they do so? Because it will increase the sales. When you will cross that product, you tend to stop, you tend to look at it, and the packing is such, you will buy it. Then gradually move to the areas which are less, uh, which are in between. The ones which are bought a bit more than the ones at the starting. So they are kept in the middle range. So they can bought also. And when you reach to your destination at the end, there is when you actually want that product. So you tend to buy you will buy more products than you have actually came for. This is a strategy. This is an association rule which has been implemented. So this is an unsupervised learning technique which is being used in a real world because we generally ask our students where these kinds of algorithms are used. Just give an example, right? So this is a one of the very good example where we can where we use. Then is a dimensionality reduction. Now, this is a very good example. Now, what happened is this is like a guessing game. We all tend to play it, not only in our childhoods, but now also. It is something like when we decrease the number of features and variables in the data set to get the original information, not the data, but the information, right? Now, it is something like you can, for example, something is in my hand and we just ask, okay, tell me, we play a game like this, something I'm holding in my hand, in my fist, and I'm asking, okay, tell me what is in my hand. So what the other person will start guessing like, okay, is it a something to eat? I'll be yes. So what it has done when I say yes, that means of course you will reduce it. You have reduced many options. Now it cannot be anything to wear. It cannot be any other thing. We know it is something to eat, right? Then the second, okay, your area you have reduced. Guessing area have been
इसी
reduced.
लैंग्वेज में बोल रही है जो
Now,
चौथी पांचवी के बच्चे को समझ में आ जाए. शी इज टॉकिंग लाइक.
thank you, sir. So next, uh, what we say is, okay, then we reduce it to further, okay, whether it is further reducing it to more further guessing game after one and the after, right? So we come up to the thing that, yes, this is something which was in my fist. So these are the kind of application we use in the dimensionality reduction also, right? So in the application wherein we use these kinds of features, wherein we reduce these kinds of features, therein, like if you have to predict something, you are coming up with some new drug, let's say, and therein you have to come up whether this will be actually useful for a disease or not. In that case, um, what we will do, we always look out for the targets in drug discovery. So we therein we can reduce for the dimensionality reduction, right? For dimensionality reduction, we always look out whether these targets, if this is a target for a drug which we are trying to make. No, right? Okay, so what is the other kind of sequence which is possible and wherein these drugs can actually look into it, right? So these, like these way, we can reduce the features and we can actually come up to the target wherein we actually face it. And this is how the unsupervised learning techniques work on, wherein we don't have any label data. These are few of the applications wherein we have unsupervised learning techniques we use, like for customer segmentation, as just told you in the association-based rules, anomaly detection. When we have some unusual patterns, we recognize, though we have in fraud detection, we generally define that kind of things. But in anomaly detection also, we can have uh, the fraud detections wherein some new patterns are coming up and that has not been trained so far. In case those have been not trained so far, you cannot detect it. So in that case, you have to be proactively looking into the unsupervised learning algorithms, especially also in the cyber security, in the failure prevention. Then in the recommendation system, recommendation systems we generally have during when you're buying something online, they look into what you have bought last time based on that customer's behavior. They analyze the user's behavior and then they come up as per their preference, looking into what the customer bought or what kind of, if someone is buying this kind of things, then what could be the prediction they what could be the preference they can have. So this is something where the recommendation system works, right? Then the image and the text clustering also, and social network analysis. Now further, the reinforcement learning, this is again a type of learning algorithm where an agent learns to make decision through trial and error and maximize the cumulative rewards. Now this actually again, you can say it's based on the reward and punishment system, wherein the machine learns to interact with an environment and if they are interacting in a same correct way, then they are being rewarded. in case their reward is, in case their movement is not right, then they will receive a punishment for their actions they have been doing. So this feedback is in the form of rewards and penalties, right? For example, if for example, in a game, this, whenever we say that this is a robot and this is a star or a diamond, one has to move it, then what generally this kind of game, if it moves and comes at this place, so if you're moving towards the left side, we know it is not going to go to the end point. But if it is moving towards right, then at some point it can reach to its goal. So if it takes a wrong turn towards the left, it will be penalized. It will be punished. Maybe some timeout can be given, right? But on the other hand, if moves in a correct way, then some reward can be added. Let's say adding a lifeline, something like that can be done. This is a small scenario which is being there, which is a setup. And most of the games nowadays work on this. But what kind of reinforcement learning we can do in when we are talking about healthcare, when we about talking about pharmaceutical techniques, will come into a next slides. Now, okay, these are the three different kinds of learning we have understood, that we have known what is AI, we got to know what is machine learning, we know what is deep learning, and then generative AI, and also the types of machine learning algorithms, that is supervised when we have a label data, then we have unsupervised when we do not have any label data given to us, and then we also have a reinforcement learning. That means uh, the agents are there and we actually learn on the basis of uh, rewards and punishment, or the penalties based on that, right? So if you're learning a correct thing, then you will be rewarded. If you're not learning a correct thing, then you will be penalized, right? So now, next, when we talk about in this, in entire learning system so far, we've been talking about what are labels, what are features. So features are the input data or the characteristics which are used to make any prediction. And these features can be measurable, these can be independent and varied types. Now, these features are actually act like an input. On base of these features, labels we get. That means we get the final output. We get the final, or we get the correct answer. The model tries to learn and predict over these features and give the answers in the form of labels. So labels are the dependent version, but on the independent features, right? Labels can be numerical, they can be categorical yes or no types. They can be numericals when we looking into the data set and has been processed. You can have just in the starting, we have the wind speed. Then later off, when you can have a if then rules, it can becomes whether customer will buy or not. It becomes a categorical, right? So it becomes something like that. For example, if you are inputting, if you are giving a age of a person and you say, tell what is the age and weight, and you want to predict whether a person can have a diabetic or not, right? So if you're predicting yes or no kind of thing, it becomes a categorical, and the diabetic becomes a label, right? What you are predicting becomes a label, and what features you are entering, that is age and weight, that is the inputs, becomes your features, right? Now, for example, you want to predict a house price. So what are the features you enter? You features the square feet, location, bedroom size, and what would be the labels? Similarly, the selling price you get. What would be the output, right? The selling price, the amount. If you, for example, you want to predict, or you want to predict a drug will be correct or not. In that case, what could be the possible features when you're predicting? We generally predict, we take the input data set and then we take the various features. Now, generally, we do not take one or two features to predict any data, uh, to predict any disease. we have some 25, 30 when we are working on some research and we are working on it. So we take 25, 30 features, and for each and every patient, or I would say the subject. And then based on that, the algorithm is designed in such a way that it comes up with a label, whether it has a disease or not. But in between all this prediction, what all is going behind? We say, okay, input is there. We are predicting on the basis of features, but just on the basis of features, we cannot say whether a person is having a particular disease or not, whether a drug is good for this particular target or not, for which we are designing, right? So for it, we have training data, we have a testing data. Now, training is a process of teaching a model. You are asking your algorithm to recognize certain patterns by giving it a data set, while the training data is a data set which is being used to teach a machine learning model. These are generally the labeled examples as we just saw in the supervised learning algorithms. In a testing is a process of evaluating that whatever you have trained so far, and one is sitting in an examination for what all have been trained, have been learned. So whether they have learned correctly or not, how we can know just by testing it during the exams, and how we validate whether what they have done is correct or not by giving the marks, right? So in the same terms, in the machine learning, it works on the same criteria. That is, you are first training the data, your algorithm based on some training data, which helps in training it, teaching the machine learning algorithm that yes, for this kind of input we will give you, you should come up with this kind of output only. And testing, the process of evaluating that how accurately the model predict on brand new unseen data, right? Which have not so far been entered into the system. If that kind of data comes into the system, how will it come up, or how will it evaluate it? Now, for this, we have a testing data, which is, of course, the unseen data. And typically, we split any data set 80 or 20, where it means that whatever the data set you have, let's say if I have a 1 TB of data, out of 1 TB of data, I will take 80% of 1 TB data into the training, and then the rest 20% of 1 TB of data I will take as a testing data, which I will consider as the new data. Why I am doing it so? Because when 80% data is there for any XYZ data set, I know what is the output which is there, right? So while I'm designing any machine learning algorithm for 80% of data, I know I have trained my model and I know what could be the output. Now, for the rest 20%, which will act like a new data, and it will now enter into our trained model. Into that model, once it enter, it will come up with some output. Now, whether that output is correct or not, how we will get to know? Because we have already trained it, right? So for any testing model, for any testing data you have entered, it is giving you it is predicting you the correct output or not, right? So if it is not giving, and you already have in your data set that particular output, so whether your expected and calculated output is same or not. If it is not same, that means there is something which went wrong by training your model with the data set. So you have to retrain your model again and again till you get the correct output, right? So that is why we take testing for less and training more, so you can more accurately and more precisely you can train your model. Now, we have understood what is training. We have understood okay, it's testing. We understood what is features. We understood what is label. We know now what is algorithm. So we got to know all the pieces which set together to make the entire algorithm work. So next come what is model building. Model building starts in a machine learning starts from the very first step of data collection. Now it can when you collect the data, It can be any digital data. It can be from physical data also, and it has to be converted in format which your algorithm can understand. It can be your CSV files. So later on in the FDP, when you would be studying, when you will go through the Python, you will understand how a CSV file is being designed. Generally in Python, we enter a CSV file, but nowadays it is not even necessary. You can enter the Excels also. CSV files, it only contains the raw data. There is nothing processed. So in a data collection, you collect the data, then you pre-process. What is the necessary for pre-processing a data? You're cleaning a data. If there is something, some errors are there, you remove it. Some, let's say data is missing. Either you remove that data set or you fill it by further cross questioning. So you handle the missing values, remove the errors, remove the noise, right? Then that is being pre-processing, is being done on the data. On the raw data, refers to the pre-processing. Now your data set is good to go into the model. Now when you enter into the model, that means you do the feature selection. That is what all features are important in those data set to come up with the correct data point, to come up with the correct label, to come up with the correct answer, right? Correct output. That is called feature selection. Feature selection is a very important stage in a model building and machine learning, because correct feature selection will lead to the correct output. If the feature selection is not correct, if I'm taking, let's say it's a camel, let's say. So I need to find out what are the data points which will correctly identify that these are the points, or these are the features which I need to take into account in my data set, that I can clearly identify that after identifying the features, that this is a camel, right? Then we have split data. Why we split data? Because now we get to know that is 80% of whatever data you have created, 80% will be your training data, 20% will be your testing data. So you split the data into training and testing sets. You choose into the fifth stage, that is whether you want to go for supervised learning. Of course, training and testing, you will definitely go for supervised learning. That is why we are dividing into training testing. If in case you are opting for reinforcement learning, unsupervised learning, then we don't have to split the data. We can take the entire data set at once. But if we want to take a supervised learning algorithm, in that case, we have to take training and testing data set. As we enter that data, then we train. Now the algorithm has taken up the right algorithm you have decided under supervised learning. Whether you are taking classification or you are taking regression, you take that as per your application. Then that algorithm has to be trained for different patterns as per your training data. So now you have to look out as per when you have a training data. Now you have features you have selected onto the training data set. So taking those two into account, you are now training your algorithm. That is called training a model. And once your model is ready, now you will, right? So in evaluating the model, we first test the data with our 20% of the data which is left, which we have left behind at the step 4, right? So we test with 20% of the data set. With those 20% of data set, we generally evaluate. Then we evaluate its performance based on various parameters like accuracy, like ROC plots, F1 scores. So there are a number of parameters which we have. Based on that, we evaluate whether we have got the correct output or not. And so once we test it, then we also have to evaluate the performance. Then in case our output is not correct, let's say out of 20% of data, for 10% of data, it has given me the correct output. For rest 10%, it is not giving me the correct output. That means there is some problem in the model. I have to improve my model. So I have to again tune in my parameters. I have to maybe tune in or retune in my feature selection. Go back to step 3 from step 8. I have to go back, right? Then again, I have to take the better features. So again, after selecting, again, I have to, we already have split the data into 80-20. We, on the same algorithm, we train again, and then again, we evaluate using testing, and the performance is evaluated. And when again that 20% gives me the correct output as per what is expected, then that means my algorithm has been trained and my algorithm is now working very good. And now it is in the way that we can put it into the implementation phase, right? So this is how it is working. This is a model building, right? Now, when we are doing this model, when we are doing this training a model, right? During that, we come across two kinds of problems, overfitting and underfitting. What is underfitting? Underfitting is when the model is too simple to find patterns. That means when the model fails to learn even a very simple patterns. So in case, for example, if there is any sequence, DNA sequence, I need to find out, any pattern is given, let's say Tata box is given, and I need to find out the pattern and give features. It can correctly find out for some of the testing data, but for in the rest of the testing sequences, it is not giving that data box, right? Yeah, CPG islands, if I want to find out, it is not able to find out that. That means it is underfitting. The model is not trained well because it is not able to find out, predict the very simplest of the patterns, right? So that model is very simple and model is not able to recognize even a simple pattern. The training is not done properly. So most of the important patterns will be left out, right? What is overfitting? When you have trained or you had made your model to learn too much, which is not even required. So that is, you have made the model complex. You have even asked it, ki, okay, read and learn the noise, the errors which are there. So what will happen? That there is too much of training which has already been done, and out of which what happened whenever the testing is done, again, you won't get the correct accuracy. And the reason being, because it is now reading and it is also being trained on the noise. So it will look out that whether in a testing data you have errors, you have noise or not. Because if there is no noise, no errors, then it will again give you a wrong answer. For the model, while doing a overfitting of while doing the training, you have trained it so much that it has learned not, sorry, learn the noise as part of the data set itself. So if it is not coming across that there is no noise, so it will not fit into the model. So that is overfitting. So it is very important that there should be a balance fitting, right? It should be able to predict all the patterns which are there into the sequence. What we generally do while any pattern recognition we do generally in our bioinformatics field, we do the pattern recognition. So in that case, we are able to find all the patterns. Plus, it should not read, the model should not take into account the noise, the errors which are there. That is, any mutations which are there should not take into account those mutations. It should leave it behind, right? So the balance condition should be there. So the good fit. So what I need to say here is that whenever we are plotting under underfitting, it is too simple. So what will happen? Lot of patterns. So this is a line, straight line, which is generally being plotted when it is underfitted. And the here the small balls, dots you are seeing are the patterns. So whenever there is underfitting, lot of patterns are missed out. That is why it is either on the left side or right side of the line. these are showing that these have been left out. That is why it is far behind or far up or below time. That's underfitting. It is too simple. You are missing out on the patterns. So of course, high training error is there. High testing error would be there because you are not able to recognize what you wanted to actually. And overfitting, it is too complex. So it is too complex. It is even if this dots are representing the errors also. So it is, you can say it is in a uncircle, in some definite pattern is not there. So it is reading the errors also. Though there is low training error. Why? Because it is reading all kind of data. Whatever we are feeding, it is learning out of it. But of course, testing error will be very high. Very simple because it will consider the noise, the errors, the missing values, everything as a part of the data itself, right? Which will definitely lead to the high tech error. And it will somehow find the patterns which are not necessary to be found out while doing any pattern recognition, and of course which are of no use. It will try to find those pattern also. So what we need is we need a good fit. We just need a good fit. That means it should go, this line should be like this, that only the patterns of use of necessary pattern should be learned, while the noise, while the errors, missing values should be left behind. Those should not be read into the learning stage. What will it lead to? Of course, now my data is neither underfitted nor overfitted. It is just in balance. So the training error, of course, is low and testing error is low. So this, if both training and testing errors, then the accuracy will be high. The prediction will be a good prediction of any application we are doing will be high, right? And this is what we are always looking into. So fitting into the curve. So this is, we generally say fitting into the curve. That represents a true pattern, right? Okay. Now, let's come to what are the applications of AI. This is so far the basics we need to understand. We talk about AI, ML when we start with that what is AI, what are the different subsets within AI, then with ML, with deep learning, then what is prompt engineering. We are being using prompt engineering nowadays with every AI tool we are doing. Then what are the types of AI learning, machine learning algorithms? What is supervised, its type, unsupervised, its type, reinforcement type, what is model building, what are the steps we use in model building, because while you are using a model building step, you are actually designing an algorithm for AI, right? A correct model building will lead to a correct AI tool. So what are the model building steps? Then what is underfitting? What is overfitting? Then what is training testing? What features are the inputs, labels, outputs? These are the very basic terms which we need to look into the when we talk about designing AI applications. Now, what are the application of AI and ML in healthcare and pharmaceutical? This is just a club up together of healthcare, pharmaceutical, and what are the benefits of it. We can use the AI and ML techniques into disease diagnosis. We can use in medical imaging, as we can do the image classification to find out any disease. Then for personalized medicine also, we can use a supervised learning techniques. Then for patient monitoring, also the AI techniques are being used. There are being softwares which are being developed on these terms, AI applications. Then we have hospital automations, which all kinds of automations now are being developed under AI tools itself. Then under pharmaceutical applications, we have drug designing, which is of course always being used under pharmaceutical applications, molecule design, then clinical trials and pharmacovigilance. Then we have also supply chain that in the pharmaceuticals, that all the medicines which are and the drugs which are being manufactured, whether the supply chain is moving correctly or not. Nowadays, big corporates, big companies which are into the manufacturing, they are using supply chain. They already have SPM, that is supply chain management, but they are using incorporating AI techniques into it so that human intervention becomes less and there is more, uh, the result becomes much better, accuracy increases. Now, when we use AI applications or ML applications into the healthcare and pharmaceutical, what would be the benefit? We get the faster diagnosis, we get the better outcomes, lower costs, then data-driven demands, and we have the efficiency, improved efficiencies to detect any disease, to predict any disease. There is a better efficiencies. Now, this I have categorized separately for healthcare and clinical applications. That is medical imaging, that is predictive analytics, personalized medicine. They can be used in healthcare. And for pharmaceutical drug development applications, I have separately classified, right? This is just an overview of what have been said so far into healthcare and pharmaceutical applications. That is for disease diagnosis and detection, predictive analytics and risk management, then personalized treatment, patient monitoring, and administrative and operating efficiencies. In pharmaceutical, drug designing, molecular modeling, clinical trials, pharmacovigilance, supply chain, demand force. So these are few applications which are there in healthcare and pharmaceuticals. So this is from my side for this particular presentation.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. If anyone have any query regarding ma'am topic, please share.
Hello, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am, I will.
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask doubt right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. The station was very informative. Can I get any practical tools or any apps from which I can learn or I can use? Is there are any subscriptions or any
Ma'am, there if you
pharmaceutical? Yes.
And there are many tools, though when we go into those specifically into the pharmaceutical companies or pharmaceutical applications, most of the AI tools, since they are being customized, so they are on the subscription based. But besides also the industries, few industries also, they have for the free versions. So as per your application, you have to look out for the tools, right? Like in the bioinformatics, I've been using few tools wherein we just enter the data and we get the output as per what we wish for,
Okay.
right? So those are the tools we,
Yes, ma'am.
pardon
Please
me, ma'am.
continue. No, please continue, ma'am. I will ask later.
Okay. Okay. So in each and every application, as I'm saying, like if I talk about computer science, there are many, as you also must be using, we all nowadays are using most of the tools which are free. But the free version always have a limitations of working.
Limited
So they always
access.
ask for the subscription model. Yes. So they ask for the subscription models. Now, going towards the some specific application, like if I talk about healthcare, if I talk about pharmaceuticals, in that case, since it cannot be made something which can be free or it can be used for anyone, because what happens in that case, the tools which they would be using, they will add up to the data, which may not into the free server, of course, but maybe that can be used for some that can hamper some security purpose. So most of the tools are so that they are subscription based or are customized for some companies or from for some academic institute. But as
Okay.
we always recommend our students when we take up projects, that and in fact, what you can also do, that you can, it's a better learning also. You can ask your students to develop a AI algorithm for predicting something, let's say I want to predict a cancer, or I want to predict
Yes.
diabetes, right? So there is lot of data which is available in open source. You go to GitHub. You can find GitHub is a open source platform where you will find any kind of data you wish. So you can, if you, because clinical data, it is hard to find once you start making a model. In that case, you can take a data set from GitHub. You can use that data set, design an algorithm, and when you are predicting something, you have to use a classification supervised learning algorithm, right? Because you have a categorical answer, yes or no, the disease is there or disease is not there, right? So based on that, you can define it, and you can ask your students to start with some small minor project uh, for uh, for predicting some these kinds of data, and they can design
Okay.
algorithms. And it is now, if I tell you, it is very, very simple to design, because every 2 months, the students, the ones who are very well versed into it, they design the prediction algorithms based on AI. It is very simple, no doubt. But you can ask to start from somewhere. You can ask the students as a project, maybe as a minor or as a major. So they will get all the data. They will get most of the support over the internet. While they are reading the research papers, they will get lot of support.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we have one more question from Ashwani Mishra. He want to ask that can you please suggest bioinformatic tools you are using for research?
Sir, as if I tell you, there is for proteomics analysis, there is something called Peaks Online Analyze, which helps in analyzing faster proteomics analysis. Then there is a Casper also, which we are using. Um, then we have AlphaFold also, which I also use for protein structure prediction. These are two, three which we are using. In fact, one of the very good, if I talk about nowadays, which is there is been used, like we have Chat GPT. In the same way, there is something called XPC GPT also. If you know this Swiss Bioinformatics Institute in Switzerland, so they have came up with in the same terms of Chat GPT, but as ChatGPT is using all kind of data, XPC GPT is for bioinformatics data set. So if I'm working on some bioinformatics related tools or data, I use that thing. But of course, let me tell you, since it's a bioinformatics related thing, these are for free version. It is very, very limited. You need to buy their subscription model to have a lot of, research area if you want to do into it. Besides, what you can do is you can use the multiple tools if you actually come up with some research. So what you can do is you can do a multiple tool chaining. One, you enter into input, you get output, you enter that output into another tool as an input, you get output, and likewise you can create a chain and you can come up with a final output which you actually are expecting. In this way, you can reduce your subscriptions also, and you can come up to near expected. I won't say what you are actually expecting. No, that won't be possible, but near to expected answer you can get it. And to cross verify it, what you can do is just, I was telling to other ma'am that, Pratindya ma'am, that what you can do is you can develop an AI algorithm, any prediction based. If you want to do any prediction also, you can do that in-house. You can develop that algorithm. And whatever answer you're getting with tool chaining, try to come up with the same answer with that AI tool which or algorithm you're designing prediction. If the both answer matches, let's say 2 plus or minus 2%, or 5%, if I say for bioinformatics is it plus or minus 5%, then this is one of a very good prediction you have created. And in fact, for a research paper, this is again a very good idea that you're creating chain tooling, and plus you are doing also designing a AI prediction algorithm. So both of them doing in a one research paper will give you a very good result also. Ashwini sir.
Ma'am, there is one more question, if it is possible. Ma'am, I
Yes.
need to know that this
Yes, sir.
multi-chain tooling, the thing you are saying, and with response to the algorithm which we can generate in order to predict its accuracy, or it probably in term of
Yes.
plus 5%
Yeah.
Can you please suggest some of the title of the
Hmm.
research paper which I can go through in order to understand their depth and their utility in term of utilizing them?
All right. So see what I have been working on. I'm working with the DR, that is diabetic retinopathy, and I'm working with Alzheimer and this breast cancer, right? So what we are doing there is, if I'm doing a tool chaining, my student is designing the algorithm, or vice versa. So for each and every application, as you said, can you tell me some tools? So for this, I can only say you can do various bioinformatics tools which are available, because for each and every application, the tool will differ. You cannot every time take, as I just told you, you cannot just take every time you want AlphaFold, or you can use peaks online. If your application deals with proteomics, you will use peaks, right? Then out of it, if you're getting some pattern, you might do the blast then. But if mine does not have proteomics analysis, I'm not going to use it. I might be using for, let's say, deep variant. I might be using SPC GPT for my work. So for application to application, it sir differs. Tool chaining, which I'm saying you. For if you are using, let's say, sequencing, if you want to do sequencing for NGS data, right? Genetic variant calling for NGS data, then you can use deep variant AI algo. You can use, there is another machine learning algorithm, deep consensus. So that's what I'm saying. It depends what application you're using. Accordingly, what output you want, you have to use your chain tooling accordingly.
Okay, thank you
But
very
for
much,
that,
ma'am.
you can always use XPC GPT, because it helps a lot in designing a chain tool for you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I will try to find some research paper based on it.
Please, please. Or you can
Okay,
connect
thank you.
to, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, ma'am.
I think, ma'am, all questions are done here. And thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. And I would like to say that your presentation on the foundation of AI, machine learning, deep learning, prompt engineering, model building, underfitting, overfitting parameters, whatever you have told us today is really knowledgeable for our participants and for us too. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today, and we will look forward to see you on your next session on third day.
Absolutely. I hope to see you all again. And we'll learn more about then big data, because as far as healthcare and pharmaceutical companies are involved, they deal lots of thing on IoT. They deal lot of on big data. Nowadays, every now and then the data is increasing. So we look forward, and I look forward to learn from you, of course, because I am also a learner. So I would look forward to learn from you also, and convey my learning to you also. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us, for your presence and for your valuable time and your excellent session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
May I leave now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Now we move towards the second session of today's faculty development program. It is my privilege to introduce our next esteemed speaker, Dr. Naved Alam, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, School of Engineering, Science and Technology, Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. Sir holds a PhD in biomedical engineering from Jamia Millia Islamia, with specialization in artificial intelligence, biomedical signal and image processing, and intelligent healthcare system. His research interests encompass artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, Internet of medical things, medical image analysis, large language models, explainable AI, digital health, and intelligent decision support system. He has authored numerous research publications in leading international journals and conferences and has been actively involved in teaching undergraduate and postgraduate courses in artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, data science, and the Internet of Things. Sir has also organized several faculty development programs, AI workshops, and industry oriented training programs, making significant contribution to AI driven education and research. His current work focuses on developing scalable and trustworthy AI technologies that bridge academic research with practical healthcare applications. Today's session is on the topic Python for healthcare data analysis and visualization. We are truly delighted and honored to have Dr. Naved Alam with us today to share his expertise and practical insights on this important topic. Sir, please join us.
Yes, thank you so much. So I have joined and good noon to everyone. So my name is Dr. Naved Alam and I welcome you all to this faculty development program. And my introduction is already done.
Sir, your
So
internet connection is not
I'm
working well.
going into the
Sir, you are
introduction.
not audible.
Okay, so now next thing is that today I'm covering the topic to the Python programming. Get to Yes, my voice is audible now.
Yes, sir, it is now audible.
Okay, yes. Okay, good noon to everyone. So welcome into the faculty development program. So today I will cover the topic related to the Python programming. So I'm not going into the introductory part because it is already done related to myself. Okay. Now I will ask one question from to all of you that have you ever used the Python programming or any other programming for healthcare for in the domain of healthcare applications or like pharmacy or any other in any other field? You
Yes,
can
sir.
write. Okay, so that means you know about this language about something. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Wait. My screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir, it is
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Okay. So what do you understand from the concept related to the programming? That I heard that you are from the pharmaceutical background and from the others background of the that means you are not from engineering background. So maybe you are having some fear about the programming. Okay, the programming. So now we will cover the topics related to the Python so that you you can overcome your fear. Okay. So in that slide, you can see that what are the different things we can do using the Python programming, and what are the different libraries we are having that we can use for the particular applications into the Python programming. And like this, you can see that case studies that can be covered into this workshop. If we got the chance to cover all the topics. Okay, in that, you can see that how we can classify the iris species, and that is related to the this birds of the plant. And heart disease predictions, like we can predict the disease related to the heart using the data set that we are having. And also we can predict the diabetes using the machine learning models using the Python programming. And we can predict the leukemia classifications using the machine learning and deep learning models. And we can perform gene expression analysis on the clustering of the cancer cell lines using the Python programming. And we can also do the blood-brain barrier predictions with the help of Python programming using machine learning and deep learning algorithms. And we can also perform fatty acid profile analysis for the classification of vegetable oils. That is also done with the help of Python programming. And we can take the plants and can get the information about the plants, like carbon dioxide uptakes into the plants. So there can be there we can design the model using machine learning and deep learning approaches with the help of Python programming. And breast cancer diagnosis can also be done with the help of machine learning and deep learning. So there are so many applications. Okay, and RNA sequence analysis, drug discovery. So you can see in the healthcare analytics we are using for the different types of application, the concept of AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, using Python programming. Okay, if you don't know the Python programming, so you cannot use this programming concept in the field of AI and in the field of predictions using these tools. Okay, so what we can understand from the Python programming,
Sir,
here we will see.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, if possible, please make your slide on full screen.
Okay. Like I can enlarge slide. Okay. Okay. Now we will see that how the basics of Python programming concept we can do, and also we will understand the various libraries that we can use in that field. Like the NumPy is there, that is used for numerical calculation, and Pandas library is there, that is used for handling the data related to Excel file, CSV file, text file, and Matplotlib library is there, that is used to handle to plot the graphs and figures using Matplotlib library. We can generate the various types of figures and plots and graphs. And Seaborn library is there, that is also the Python programming related library. And with the help of Seaborn library, we can create different types of visualization into the graphs. And scikit-learn library is there, that is used for machine learning model development process. And BioPython library is there, that is used for the drug discovery and genome sequence, RNA sequence, DNA sequence, protein analysis. So BioPython library is there. So there are so many libraries, and these libraries we can use into the Python programming for the different types of applications. Okay, and general overview of that for developing any AI model, you should have data. Okay, so there is a data collection, and data can be in any form. It can be raw data, it can be clinical data, it can be geometric data, or it can be chemical data. Okay, and data can be in other formats also, like it can be image data. If you are having slide image, so that can also, and it can be a audio data, it can be a video data, text data. So data, so first thing is to develop any AI model, you need to define the data. Okay, and you need to collect the data. Okay, after collecting the data, now there is a requirement to clean that data, because we are having very large data. If we are talking about the DNA data, RNA data, the size of the data is very large. Okay, so we need to pre-process that data. That means we need to focus only the requirement things, and we need to clean that data. So we can perform various programming concepts related to Python programming, so that we can clean the data and we can perform pre-processing on that data. After pre-processing steps, next step is perform EDA. EDA is the exploratory data analysis. So this step is used to visualize the graphs and summarize the data and discover the patterns from the data. In the EDA part, we can create different types of graphs, plots, and charts to identify the things into the data. And after performing this step, next step is statistical analysis. In the statistical analysis, we can perform various steps related to the statistics. Like we can identify the data in terms of their statistics, like hypothesis testing we can do. And the distributions is there, like Z distribution, T distributions. We can perform and to get the results in terms of distribution of the data. And we can perform the statistics to get the result in terms of mean, mode, median, standard deviation, correlation analysis. So many things we can do on that data related to statistics also. And then there is a next step that is related to the machine learning. In the machine learning part, what we can do, we can identify the features from the data, like which type of features we needed to develop the model. And we need to identify these features, and then we need to classify these features with the help of machine learning model algorithms. So we will see that there are some machine learning algorithm that is defined in terms of supervised machine learning algorithm and unsupervised machine learning algorithm and reinforcement machine learning algorithm. So we will understand the concept related to these also. And after applying the algorithm, you will see that next thing is to get the insights and to get some applications of that model. Okay, so that is used into the healthcare and research. So we can identify the things related to that, or we can predict the outcomes or predict the futures related to that sequence analysis. And we need to understand the combinations of different types of chemicals. So a drug discovery that we can perform. And after, so this will be the model, complete model for developing any AI model. Like first need to collect the data, and then pre-process the data, and then perform the EDA on the data, and then perform the statistical analysis on the data, and then we will apply the machine learning model as per the requirement, because there are different models, and different models are having different applications, and then we can get some insights from the data. Okay, and sample, there is a sample visualization, like this type of graph we can create, like histogram graph we can create, scatter plot, and box plot, PCA that is principal component analysis for identifying the features from the data, and heat map graph, and like dendrograph graph. This type of graph we can create with the help of Python programming. Okay, so learning outcome will be that you will be able to identify the data, and you will be able to load the data using the Python programming, and you can perform the pre-processing on the data, and then you will be able to apply the machine learning algorithm on that. Okay, so this can be now how it can be possible. So we can use some tools. So like there is a Jupyter notebook that we can use, Anaconda, and Google Colab we can use, and VS Code we can use, and GitHub, Kaggle. Okay, and then we can perform like bioinformatics, pharmaceutical research, clinical analytics, and machine learning and precision medicine using these tools. Okay.
Sir, with this slide, sir, if possible, please make your slide for the full screen. Slide mode.
These are the images that is pasted on the slide. So I will cover all the topics. This is just the overview type of things. Okay. So I'm leaving that, no problem if you are not able to see. So next thing, whenever we learn the Python programming, we will learn from where we can learn the Python programming. Okay, so you should understand that there are so many online platforms where we can learn the Python programming. So I will give you one example. You can open on your system also if you are learning side by side. You can write W3 schools Python, or you can search on Google. It is W3 schools Python. Now go into the Python tutorial. Other sources are also there that we can also share, like tutorial point is there. Okay. Currently, I am showing this. So here, what you can understand the basics of Python, and in that basics of Python, I will cover the topics like the various data types, various variables, that how we can use the variables, data type, which type of data type we can use, and then there are if-else condition, there is a loop, and there is a other things, function declaration. So how we can use, I can show you all these things. So understand that Python is a programming language, and it is a high-level programming language. And I think there is no requirement to be a software developer from your side, because you are all from the healthcare and healthcare department. So you just you want to understand the concept related to Python. Okay, you don't want to be a software developer into the Python. Okay, so that keep in that things I keep in my mind, and then I will tell you the things related to that. Okay, I'm not giving you all the details, so that is not helpful to you. I will give you the things that is only helpful to you. Okay. So in that first, you can go into the get started. Okay. The first program, whenever we write the first program, we will write print or any statement into that print. Okay. So that will be the first program. So now where we can write this program, or where we can write this code. Okay. So this code can be written on some integrated development environment or Python softwares. Okay, so how many softwares are there and where we can write this code? So I will tell you, like suppose there is a python.org. You can click on that python.org. And from here you can download, you can go into the download, and then you can download this software. Okay. And other tools are also there. I can show you, like Anaconda, download. So it is already downloaded on my system. That's why I'm not downloading. If you want that these steps, I can download for you. Okay, from here you can download, like skip the registration, you can directly download here. You can just skip the resistance and download directly. So there is an Anaconda distribution, Windows 64 graphical installer, and my mini Conda. So you can download from here. So it will be downloaded on your system. Okay. So after downloading, how it will look. Because I have already downloaded, so I am showing this. So this is the like after downloading, you will get this type of environment, and here you can see so many tools are there. Like PyCharm is there, Anaconda Toolbox, Anaconda Prompt, Jupyter Lab, Notebook, Oracle, Hadoop, Spider, Watson. So many tools are there. So which tool we should use? R Studio is also there. So I will choose Jupyter Notebook. You can click on that launch. So after launching, it will be open on your browser. Just taking time. Okay, open हो गया. Okay, after opening it, this will be there, and here you can go into the new, and then you can click on that Python 3. So a new page will be open. Okay, and waiting. Okay, if you want to upload any already built file of Python programming, you can click on that upload. So you can open .ipynb file. ipynb file is the extension of that Python programming that is used into this Jupyter notebook. Okay, so you can click on that, or if you want to upload the dataset also. So that is this Excel file of the dataset. That is a diabetes dataset. You can click on that and you can open it. So it is, I'm overwriting because it is already uploaded on my system. Next, now you will get the data set and the Python environment, which is already developed in your Jupyter environment. So data set was, so here the data set is, you can see, diabetes.csv file. Okay. So this data set is now uploaded into that environment. And if there are, suppose, multiple files, get the zip of that files, and then you can upload the zip files. Okay. Whenever you are uploading any data set into that, so this data set will be saved on your computer into the C drive. C users and your name. जो इस तरह का folder होता है, like C user name. वहाँ पर आप देखोगे this folder is already saved if you already uploaded from it. Okay, that means this Jupyter environment is taking some space from your C drive. If the data set is very large, so your C drive will take that memory. Okay. So this is the issue. Generally, I'm also facing this issue. If the C drive is full, so that type of hanging, like system will be hanged. Okay. So after clicking on that new, you will get this type of page. New and Python 3, that you will get, this page will be open. Okay. Meanwhile, I will show you another thing. I need to close some websites so my system will work properly. Okay, so this was the process of downloading Anaconda and opening the Anaconda, and into the Anaconda you are opening the node. Okay. So now next thing is another software is also there that mostly software developer use, and that software is known as the VS Code. So I will close this Anaconda. So I'm not downloading VS Code because you are not having much more space to process that data, or you develop the machine learning or AI model on that data. Okay. So what we can use then? So for that, we can use some websites that is already providing some space to use to develop some model. Okay, so in that one website known as Google Colab, that is a cloud-based service provided from the Google. You can search on that Google Colab. Google Colab Notebook, Google Colab Python, either you can choose. Creating this Anaconda. नेटवर्क इश्यू भी है Okay, open this Google Colab. Because I know many people don't want to install any software on the system. So they can work on Google Colab. If you don't want to install any software on your system. Please open that. On your system. Then you are that Google provide your user.
Sir, I think your internet connection is very weak, sir. Everyone, please wait till sir join us again. Sir, your voice is coming, but your video is not visible,
Okay,
sir.
okay. I'm sharing screen. Hello. Yes, sir.
Sir.
I'm sharing the screen. Wait. So I have shared the screen. So now the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Okay. So come to the Google Colab and then click on that new notebook. So after providing the credentials like login ID and password into the Google Colab, you can click on that new notebook. Hello. अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है सर ओके सर ओके ठीक है Yes, wait for 2 to 3 minutes. I'm rejoining because of the network issue. This things is happening, so I'm connecting with another internet.
Everyone, please have patience and wait till sir join us again. Due to his bad connection, he is going for another internet connection. So please wait.
From where we have left. Okay.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir.
So here we will discuss about the Python programming and the concepts that we can use into the bioinformatics and healthcare. Okay. So in that we will see that the basics of Python, like how the Python can be used for the different types of data types and with different types of variables. And then we will see the data accessing elements, like how we can access the different types of data from the different data sets, and then we can modify these type of data into the data sets. Like data sets may be related to, if we are talking about the healthcare, so data set may be related to the uh, like genome files and the DNA file, RNA file, or proteins files. Okay, so how we can access these data, and how we can visualize these data. I'm currently again discussing that. So in that, what we will okay, and then we will see how we can apply the machine Python programming into using the machine learning models into the healthcare for the different purpose and different use cases. Okay, and in that we will see that there are different types of Python libraries that we can use, like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. These are the libraries, and what is the purpose of using that library, and how we can use that library, and how we can get insights into data using that library. Okay, and next is data analytics workflow, like means how the model developed. So in that we will see the complete workflow, and you can see that first we need to collect the data, and data can be raw data, or it can be clinical data, genomic data, or any other chemical data. They can be in some different formats. They can be in CSV file, they can be in Excel file, they can be tar file, or it can be some other formats also. So first thing is that we need to clean that data so that we can perform the EDA on that data. EDA is the exploratory data analysis. EDA is used to perform for visualizing the things into the data and summarize and discover the patterns from the data. And then we will see some we will apply the statistical analysis to get insights into the data and to understand about the data in terms of hypothesis testing, correlation, regression, like this. After performing this, we will see some machine learning model. And in that machine learning model, we maybe use supervised machine learning model, unsupervised machine learning model, and reinforcement learning based model. And with the advancement into the technology, deep learning model is also there. We can use deep learning model also. And after defining the model for that data, we will be able to get the insights, and we will be able to get the predictions from the data. They can be in terms of applications for the healthcare and the research area. And these are the sample of the visualizations that we can see, like how the histogram can be created, and how the scatter plot will look like that into that when we perform the EDA. Okay. So what type of tools we can use for Python programming? We will see that Jupyter Notebook we can use, and this is a part of Anaconda. And Google Colab, that is a cloud-based service provided by the Google, and that we can use without downloading any software on our system. VS Code is a downloaded that we can download for our system, VS Code. And GitHub, that is used to share the various projects and store the projects and to access these projects using GitHub. We can see that also. So first we will open the Google Colab. Okay, and then we will understand what is Google Colab and how we can open that Google Colab, and then we will understand how to upload the data set into the Google Colab, and what are the different libraries that we can use for the particular applications, and how we can import these library or load these library into the environment. Okay. So starting with the Python programming, we know that Python programming is a high-level language, and it is very beginner friendly. Like means beginner friendly means like there are the syntax that you can easily understand. Okay, and like there is a extensive libraries and frameworks and that we can use into the different applications, and it is very versatile, and it can be used for the various applications. Like it can be used into the healthcare for the different application. Like imaging data is there, we can use Python, like Python, and there is a library for imaging data like OpenCV is there, and PIL is there. And if the data is in terms of video analysis, so we can use OpenCV also. And if the data is in terms of text file, so we can use NLP and LLM and Jamia for exploring into the data set. Okay. So we will see now the hands-on on that also. So how we can perform these things. So I given you that first we need to go into the Google Colab. Create the account on Google Colab. Okay. And open the Google Colab and then create the new notebook. Welcome to the Colab. Create the new notebook. So in that notebook, you will see this type of environment. I get to minimize this. Okay. So here, this is known as cell, where we can write the code. Suppose if I'm writing print, so print is a function which can be used to display the output. Okay. And if I am writing into the single quote or double quote, I can give like welcome. And we can run this code from this black button. Like we can click on that. So output or result will be displayed here. Okay. And we can explore these tabs. Like file is used to open or save the data or save this file. So we can save it by save a copy in Drive or save a copy in GitHub or just simply save. Okay. And we can rename it. Okay, like .ipynb is the extension of that program, like that we are writing, or the software that we are creating. Okay, so there can be two types of version of Python, .py and .ipynb. And if there is already developed notebook that is saved on your system, you can use upload notebook or open notebook. Okay, or you can search the notebook into your Drive. You can rename it by you clicking on that rename, and you can delete it by moving on to move to trash. Okay, so I will see other things also, like plus text. Here you can provide any text, like we are working Python fundamental, we are learning. Okay, so we can provide the text property by using dark. Okay, and we can insert any image on that area. We can provide the emojis. Okay, we can provide the reposition markdown. We can provide the bullets. numbers, and codes, and create or provide a link of any file. Okay, and we can delete it by using click on that, delete cell, or directly delete from here. If you want to open new cell, click on plus code, then new cell will be created. Okay, so that is the environment where we will work for the different types of data. So how the data can be loaded? Data can be loaded from here. So just click on that folder, and we are having some sample data also into that environment. Google Colab, and like these are the already inbuilt files into that. Or if you want to upload any other files, so we can click on that arrow, upload. So suppose diabetes naam ka, there is a CSV file, you can upload it. So this file will be shown here. Diabetes.csv. Now those who are very low in coding, they can click on that, add to Gemini. Okay. So you can write the prompt. Like load the file and show the data. So you can click accept and run. So now you can see that you are able to see you have loaded the file using these commands, and you are able to see that file or data file using df.head. Okay. So this is just for those people जिनको कुछ भी नहीं पता है कोडिंग के बारे में. Okay. Now we will understand the basic concepts related to the Python programming from the basics. Okay. So I have been the installation process. Like you can use, you can download Anaconda. If you want to develop any model into your system. Okay. The drawback of using that Google Colab is that the data will not be saved forever here. That data file I have uploaded. If I switch off my system, and then if I am if I am switching on my system, so this data file will be deleted from here. Okay, then I will upload this data file again. So that is the drawback, that this file is not saved permanently. So that's why we use some other softwares like Anaconda or VS Code. So you can install the VS Code, download from here, choose your system, that it is your Windows system, then you can click on Window. Then it is started to download. So after downloading any software where we are working or where we are writing the code, next thing is that we need to understand how to install the libraries. Different libraries, how we can install the different libraries. Okay, suppose I'm working in Google Colab and I want to install the NumPy library. So I will write pip install NumPy. Click on that, so it will be installed. So requirement is already satisfied, so that's why it is written here. And if I want to import that library in my code environment, so I will write import numpy. So that is the way of uploading any library, installing and uploading any library into the Google Colab. Here we can install, and here we can import that library. So there are so many libraries, and the libraries are used for different purpose and different applications they are having. As per the requirement, we will install that library. So like suppose if I use install matplotlib dot pyplot as PLT. So that library will create it will be installed. That is a matplotlib library. Matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. Okay, we will install matplotlib, and when it will be import, so we will write import matplotlib dot pyplot as PLT. Okay, now VS Code is downloaded. We can install that VS Code. So I accept the terms and agreements. My location of that where it will be installed. Okay. Create a desktop icon. Add open with code action to window. Register path. Stop. Okay. Meanwhile, I will tell you other things. Okay. In Python, we can give comment using hash command. If I write hash and if I write anything, okay, so that is a comment. So it will not be included into the programming. Okay. If I write, suppose x is equal to 2, y is equal to 4, print x plus y. Okay. And then run. So you can see that what I have done, I have taken variable. These are the variable like x and y, and I have assigned the value into that variable. 2 is assigned to the x, 4 is assigned to the y, and then I have added these two variables using x plus y. So how we can declare the variables and how we can perform the various arithmetic operation into the Python. Okay, and there are some other operation also like arithmetic and logic operations and shift operations. So these operations we can perform into the Python as we perform into other like a calculator. Okay, so there are some operators like plus. So plus is used for the addition and minus is used for the subtraction, and asterisk is used for the multiplication. Okay, and this operator, shift operator, is used for the division. So these are the basic operator we can use as it is into the Python program. Now open W3 schools. We can come on the Python syntax, that how we can create the or define the syntax into the Python. Like suppose in that example, we can see like in our algorithm, suppose if I am talking about if any threshold value in any data, like suppose I can say that is a blood pressure. So we can give some limitations for the blood pressure range. Okay. So for that we need to provide like this smaller than and greater than condition, like thresholding value. We need to provide some range of values, and that range of values can be provided with the help of some relational operators. And what are the relational operators? These relational operators are defined using less than, greater than, or equal to, like this. So comments I have already discussed. Comments हम कैसे बना सकते हैं? Hash, we can use hash for showing any comment into the code. Okay. And for the variable declaration, we can create any variable like this. We can give any name for creating the variable. Okay, suppose like any name I can give XYZ to create any variables. Okay, variables may be any data. Like suppose in your Excel file, so these are the variables. Okay. Like this is given into the data file: pregnancy, glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, insulin, BMI. These are the variables. Variables we can provide into the Python programming either by writing the variable name, or either we can upload the data file directly. Okay. So we can create the variables like this. So how these variables are created, you can see here. X is equal to 4. Now these variables are also defined in terms of data types. Okay, which type of data it is. Okay, like suppose it is written X is equal to 4. So it is a type of integer. And it is written X is equal to Sally. Like there is a name is Sally, and it is written into the double quote. So it is a type of string. So different types of data types are there we can use into the Python programming. Like a string is used into the single quote or double quote as a name, and integer is used as a number, and float is used for providing the decimal values or like this. Okay. Variable names, these all are the variable names, like my variable, that is the correct variable name, my underscore variable, that is the correct variable name, and underscore my underscore variable. Okay, that is the illegal variable name because underscore cannot come before any letters. And this is the correct name. My var, that is the incorrect name. This is the correct name. So we can create the variable and we can assign the value to the variable. It is written John. John means any name. So name would be come under this single quote or double quote. So it is a string type of data. We can assign multiple variables also in a single row like this. X comma y comma z is equal to orange comma banana comma cherry. So it is defined into the single row. Okay. So that is that is the process of creating the variables. And some variables can be local variables, and some variables can be global variables. So local variables that is defined inside, like they can be used before the function declaration, and global variables they can be used into the function. Now different types of data types we can see. So how we can declare the different types of data types into the Python programming. There can be various different types of data types. As we know that we can have different types of data. Data can be any word file or text. It can be defined in terms of word. Okay, so this type of data is known as string, and data can be in terms of numbers. So numbers data, if it is a fixed number, so it is a type of integer, and the number is in decimal values, so that is a type of float. And if the number is defined in terms of real and imaginary value, so that will be a complex number. And also data type can be defined in terms of sequence, the access, how the sequentially data can be defined. But can be defined into the Python using three methods. One is known as list, another is known as tuple, and then range. So list is used to define a data type, that is a sequence type of data. And another type of data defined, that is known as dictionary, generally used into the JavaScript files. Set type of data, where the set of elements are given into the curly bracket, that is defined as a set type of data. Bool type, bool can be there can be true or false, boolean type of data. And binary type of data can be defined in terms of for the storing of the data, like in terms of byte or memory view. So these are the different type of data we can see here. Like this is hello is written and defined into the double quote. So it is a string. Okay. And generally in Python it is defined using str. And x is equal to 20 is written. 20 is a number. So it is an integer number. So we can define this as int. And yes. Anybody, if anybody is having any doubt?
No, sir, please go ahead. We will take the questions in the sessions last.
Okay, okay. Okay, now this type of data, which is given in terms of numbers with decimal value, like 20.5. So this is known as the float value. Okay. And if the data is written with like this complex number 1j or x plus yj, so that is a complex type of data. And if the data is written into the square bracket, separated with the comma, okay, and so that type of data is known as the list type of data. And if the data is written into the parenthesis, separated with the comma, that is known as tuple type of data. And range function generally used to provide the range from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it is 6 is written here. So it will give you the information from 1 to 6. Okay. And this type of data representation is known as the dictionary data, where name colon John, comma age colon 36. So that type of representation of the data is known as the dictionary type of data. And the set is defined into the curly bracket, separated with the comma. True or false, these are the Boolean type of data, and these are the binary data. Okay, so next we can come on another thing. So these are the different types of numbers. Like we can see, it is a integer number. So type, we can say it is an int type, and decimal number like 2.8, float 1j, that is a complex number. Strings like are English words. Okay, they are defined into the single quote or double quote. You can see either we can define this into the single quote, or either we can define this into the double quote. And this will be behave as a string. So any word we can write into the single quote or double quote can be behave as a string. So we can perform various operations on that string, like we can perform the slicing. So various operations are there to perform on that type of string, modify the string, concatenate the string, escape the characters, convert the string into the lowercase, convert the letters into the uppercase. So various operations we can perform on that string data. Booleans is related to the true or false. Okay, like if something is happening, that is true. If it is happening, that is true. If it is not happening, that is false. Okay, like we can say if 10 is greater than 9. So 10 is always greater than 9, so we know the output will be true. And if we say 10 is equal to 9, so that is not possible. So that means output will be false. Print 10 less than 9. So that means 10 cannot be possible. 10 cannot be less than to 9. That is not possible. So that will be a false result. Operators, what are the different operators? Operators are used to perform operation on variables and values. Operators are used to perform operation on variables and values. So there are like arithmetic operators are there, and assignment operators are there, comparison operators are there, logical operator, identity. So we need to understand the symbol of these operators like this. So plus is used for the addition, minus is used for the subtraction, asterisk is used for the multiplication, and slash is used for the division, and percentile is used for the modular division, and double star is used for the exponentiation, and this is double floor division. We need to understand the symbols and assignment operators. These are the assignment operators like equal. So this is not, this means not equal. This means assigning. Like 5 is assigned to x. Okay. And plus equal means there is an increment. The value is changing. X like this. X is equal to x plus 3. Minus equal means there is a decrement in y1. Or x is equal to x minus 3. Okay, so these operators we will understand. And these are the greater than equal to, these are the less than equal to, this is the power equal to, this is the not equal to, this is the and equal to. The different operators are there. Comparison operator is used for performing or writing the comparison into the data set. Or double equal sign means equal, and exclamatory equal, that means not equal. And this is greater than, this is less than, greater than equal to, not or greater, less than equal to. So we can perform these also. Logical operators are related to the providing the logical information. They can be and or not. Like we can write this into the programming about, suppose if we are including two things, x is less than 5 and x is less than 10. Okay, so we can use this AND operator for that. Okay, it will return true if both statements are true. And OR operator is used, or it will return true if one of the statement is true. And not means the reverse the results. So these are the identity operators. There are two identity operators to the Python programming that is used to compare the objects. There one is and another is the is not. We can use this into the for loop also when we apply the looping into the data set. X is y, x is not y. Okay, now these are the important things that we can use for accessing the elements in the multiple data we are having. So this is defined in terms of list, tuple, tree, set. So they can be also further divided in terms of mutable and non-mutable. Mutable are those variables where we can we can edit these variables names or data set, or we can add something into that, or we can remove something from the data set. So that means they are mutable. Non-mutable means like that means we cannot change. We cannot change into the data set. Okay. So they are defined with respect to their names, like list. List is a mutable type. So that means we can create a list of a set of elements. Like these are the elements, suppose fruits name, apple, banana, cherry. And these are the written in terms of string, separated with the comma. So this is the process of creating the list into the Python, where we can define the variable name into the square bracket separated with the comma. Okay. So lists are used to store multiple items in a single variable. So these list items are mutable because they are ordered, they allow changes, they allow duplicates. Like duplicate means same name can be there, like banana, cherry, and cherry. So cherry is written 2 times, so it is giving the duplicacy into the data set. So that is allowed into the list, but not allowed into the tuple. So tuple is a non-mutable type of data types. We can define the list like this. List 1 is equal to apple, banana, cherry, and this is for the string value. And this list 2 is defined in terms of numbers. These numbers are integer numbers. And list 3 is defined in terms of true and false value. These are the 3 different variable based lists. And advantage of using list into the Python is that we can provide the different data types into a single list, like name, age, that is getting like it is male or female. So male is true, female is false. Like that type of information we can provide directly into the list. So that means in the list we can provide different types of data types, like string, integer, bool, integer, and string. So this is already here. And if we want to understand about the data types, what data type we are using, so we can use the function name type. So we will write type, we will get the information about the data types. In that example, you can see like my list is the first list is defined or designed, declared into the cell, and then print is written with the type of my list. My list is what? That is the variable name that is created for this list. Okay. You can run this program from here also. So we can see the list is a type of class. So this data type is a type of class, which is a list. So with different types of data types, we can access the data types. And these things we can do into the list. Like we can add any other list into the list. We can remove the item from the list, or we can provide a loop into the list, or we can sort out the list. We can copy from one list to another list. So there are so many things that we can do into the list also. Joining two lists or list methods are also there. Next type of data type is the tuple. Tuple is defined into the parenthesis, and these are the non-mutable type. They can store multiple data elements using that. So just if you defining the tuple, you have to define like this only. Okay. So tuple items are ordered, unchangeable, and allow the duplicate values. We can perform the various exercises into the tuple also, like we can access the tuples and update the data into the tuples and unpack the tuples, loop the tuples, join the tuples. Like we can join two data elements and we can join, we can get the particular data from the data element from the whole data. Okay. Next, the basic thing that we will use into the Python programming known as sets. So sets are defined into the curly bracket, separated with the comma. So these are used to store multiple items into a single variable. Okay, and these sets are also non-changeable, unordered, unchangeable. So that means they are also non-mutable. We can define the data types in terms of dictionary also. In that, we can create the dictionary by using that format. So there is a format known as key colon value. So that format is also used into the Java programming for writing the JSON file for the dataset. And in that format, we provide the key and we provide the value, the key colon value. So dictionary is also used to store the multiple values into the key value pairs. And we can change the items, like dictionaries are ordered and unchangeable, but we can change the items by converting this dictionary into the list. First, we need to convert the data set into the list, then we can change. Otherwise, we cannot change. So there are various things that we can do: access the item, change the item, remove the item from the list also. So this is the basic concept of conditional statement, which is used for if statement, if elif or else. So where we can use that statement, suppose if we are providing the thresholding into the data set. Okay, like suppose if I am writing today is like if today is a rainy or rainy day, then I will not go in my office. So that I can write in that way using if condition. If rain equals to true, then print I'm not going office, like this. So that type of information we can create, or that type of statement we can create with the help of conditional statement into the programming. And here we are using Python programming. The Python programming we can use if condition by this syntax. If any variable name greater than or less than whatever the condition, any variable name colon. So this colon operator is must, and if condition is, or writing for a condition, we have to write if. Then we can give the details about the action. What action need to be performed? So here it is showing that B is greater than A. Action should be on the output, that it should be written on the display that B is greater than A. Condition, statement, and then action. So in that way, if condition work. Okay, if there are multiple conditions, so we will use if else or if elif. If there are multiple conditions into the data set, simple example we can understand. If A is 33, B is 33, and if B is greater than A colon, print B is greater than A. Elif A is equal to B colon, print A and B are equal. Okay, so like colon and print. So in that way we can provide multiple if else statement. If elif, or otherwise there is another statement, like there is a C is equal to again 32 or 33. So that will be another statement into that. Elif A equals to C or A less than C colon, print A less than to C. Okay, so multiple if and else statement we can create into the data set also. Into the bioinformatics or bio health, we can create we can create the structural information, or we can extract the required information by using if else condition. So I am not giving you the details information. I am giving you just the basic information, how we can use these things and how where we can use. These are the loops. Loops are defined for the continuity. Okay, suppose if you want to continue, if you want to get into the data set, okay, and you don't want to write one by one line for the code. So in that you can provide the loops. The loop will work into the whole program when into the simple statement, simple 3-line statement. Okay, there are two types of loop: while loops and for loops. So while loop is executing the condition whenever it, as long as it is true. So I is equal to 1, y I less than 6 colon print I. So that means what we are doing, we are providing the condition that जब तक 6 ना हो जाए, it will be loop will go on, or loop go on for what? It should be increment. Okay, like result will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for that. And if we want to break that loop into the while, for that we will use break statement. So if I less than equal to 1, while I less than 6 colon print I. if I is equal to 3 colon, break I plus is equal to 1, right? Okay. Next here is loop. Next loop is the for loop. So for loop, like suppose we have given the we have provided any list, okay, and the list of fruits like using apple, banana, cherry, and we want to display all the fruits name. So I will write print apple, print. I will write the code in terms of indexing, print fruits, then indexing of that fruit, like this. Okay, now it can be done using that for loop. We can display all the result directly by providing the for loop into the list. So how we can provide the for loop? So this is the method of writing the for loop. For x in fruits column. So this is the simple process of providing the loop into that list of the fruits. Okay, we can create the functions also. There are some inbuilt function that we are using, and some function can also be created into that Python. So how we can create DEF? DEF means function declaration or function definition. Suppose if I am writing greet name colon and then return. Okay, return. And I will write what need to be written. Hello. Okay, or we can provide the name plus I'm writing my name. Okay, and then we can display this result on output by using greet. Okay, and also we can give the name. This is running, green symbol is showing that means it is executed. The code is executed. Okay. So it will return the output. Click in this plus code, new will be open, new cell will be open. Print. Use that function greet which we have created. So they are saying that this is not defined. This variable is not defined. We have to provide the name also. So name can be defined into that input argument. Like when we are declaring any function can be written like this. First we have to write def, then function name, and then input argument. So what is input argument? We can write here. So this is name. Okay, that is the input argument, name. Okay, so that is the process of declaring that function by just writing the def and then function name and then input argument. So it will return this function function output like this. So loops functions. So that is the process of function declaration. The function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Okay, and function can return the data as a result, or it can be used to help avoid the code repetition. We are creating the function because we don't need repetitions, code repetitions. We can also create the Python function arguments, and the Python function argument means like you can pass any input argument into the function. by using that. And Python lambda is used to creating the function in a single line. We can create a single line function by using that. Add 10 to the argument A and return the result. Range function we will use into the data. So range function is important. That is an inbuilt range function which will return an immutable sequence of the numbers. And it will be used into the looping process. So syntax of this range function is like that. There will be a starting number and there will be a stopping or last number and there will be a step. And we can use range function like this, range 10. That means it will give you the information from 0 to 9. And we can change like this 3:10. So it will give you the initial value 3 and last value 10. Okay. Now, after understanding this basic concept related to the Python programming, now we will be able to do some task into the data files. Okay. So before going into the data files, we need to understand some library of the Python, like how to handle the data set into the Python programming. So for that, we are having pandas as a library that is used to handle the data sets. Okay. So next we can use pandas. We are coming on that pandas tutorial. So what we can do into the with the help of pandas library process, I have already told you that we need to install first that pip install pandas, then run it. And then use import pandas as PD. Okay. So this library imported, pandas library will be imported using that import panda as PD. So what we can do into the panda library? So we can perform these operations into the pandas library. Like basic is that like we can create the series of the data, or we can create the data frames, and we can read the files. File can be CSV file, Excel file, text file, and we can read the JSON file also. And then we can perform pre-processing on that data set. Pre-processing is related to the cleaning of the data. Cleaning the data means we can clean if there is any empty cell into the data set. If there is any wrong format written into the cell, we can clean that wrong format. If some data is written wrongly into the files, so that data we can clean or we can delete from the data files, or we can remove the duplicates. Okay. So now you can think that suppose you are having very large data set and maybe thousands of rows. Okay, suppose 50,000 rows are there into your data set. So you cannot look into each cell of the data set. Okay, आप ऐसा नहीं करोगे कि आप हर एक रो को एक एक करके चेक करोगे कि डेटा में क्या क्या लिखा हुआ है. Okay, or neither you will create that data set by hands. Okay, so that's why we are learning the Python programming, so that we can handle the large sizes of the data files. Okay, like suppose if the data size is very large, so we need to clean that data for developing any model. If the data is not clean, we cannot develop the model on that data. There may be many issues into the development process. Okay, So that's why we are learning the Python programming, so that we can work on the large files of the data with the help of the programming concepts. So Panda is a library that is used for the different data sets. Okay. And how we can install the pandas that I have shown you. We can write pip install pandas, or we can import this panda as import pandas as PD. So Google Colab, we are using this exclamatory pip install pandas. But when we are installing this into the VS Code or Jupyter Notebook, we will write into the terminal window about installation process, installing of these libraries. Okay. Next is that. What is series? So series is like a column into the table, and it can be one-dimensional array for holding the data into a one dimension only. Like it is created as a series. So it is defined into the square bracket as 1, 7, 2. So that is, we can say it is a list also. And also it is a one-dimensional array. So we can create a series of that one-dimensional array by using pd.series using the pandas. Okay. So series we are not creating, we are just using the data set that is already available. Part where we can play directly on with the data. So I'm having data. Data is already uploaded here. You can see this is the diabetes.csv. Click on these 3 dots and copy the path and write the code. Like data is equal to pd dot read underscore csv, and write the and paste this path. Okay, so this is the way of uploading the data set, creating into the pandas data frame. So content is not written here because it should be into the single quote. Okay, now the data file is into the programming part. Okay, now we can see what data we are having. We can write data dot head. So this will show you the first 5 rows of the data only. Data dot head is used to get the information about the first 5 rows of the data. Okay, and if I want to see 10 rows, so I will write 10 into the bracket. So I can get first 10 rows of the data set. If I want to see the last 10 rows of the data, then I will use data.tail. So now it is giving me last 10 rows of the data set. Okay. So this is the way of getting the data into the Google Colab. We can see this into the table also. We can see this in terms of data types. Show 100 per page. Wait. I'm looking to load that file. Okay, VS Code is also downloaded. Those who are working into the VS Code, they can work into the VS Code. Like they can create new file for writing the code, or go into the file, or new text file you can create. Then you can save this file in some folder, first create some folder, and then save this file. Okay, then after that, you can create the extension, you can install the extension. Like Python extension you want to download. You can install here the Python extension. So this is the way we can upload various extension into the Python for the Python environment into the VS Code, and Jupyter Notebook is also there. We can install the extension of the Jupyter Notebook also. And somebody is working on PyCharm, so they can use PyCharm also. So there are many environments where we can that we can use for the Python programming. Depending on the applications and the requirements, we can choose. If already developed model we are using, so we can use from the Hugging Face. So that we can also interface using the API. Okay. So we can upload the data files or any CSV file or Excel file using this command into the Google Colab, or either we are using Jupyter Notebook, or either we are using VS Code. Okay. Next, we will write some commands related to that. That is known as df.info. Okay. df.info will give you the information about that data. So using df.info, you will get the information about the data set. And then we can write So like this is the information we can get from the data set, like 304 entries, and it is a type of float, or it is having this type of length, BMI. Okay, df.describe.round. If I'm not writing dot round one, so if I'm writing only df.describe, so that will give me the statistical information about the data set. This simple function known as dot describe, we can get the statistical information about the data set. We can get the mean value of all the columns. We can get the standard deviation of all the columns. We can get minimum value. We can get the maximum value. Okay, and we can also get the interquartile range values, like 25%, 50%, 100% interquartile range value, Q1, Q2, Q1, Q3, Q5. Handling the missing values. If there is any missing value into the data set, how we can handle it? Suppose if there is any missing value into the data set, we can handle it by using the dot filna function. Dot filna function is there. We can use that function. This is the function dot filna, and we can use that function to fill the missing values. Okay. And how we can fill the missing values? We can fill the missing value by getting the average of that value, and by calculating the average of that column, and that average or mean value will be replaced into the missing cell or any value. Okay, so like first we will calculate the mean of that particular column, and this mean value will be replaced into the single or empty cells. Okay, so in that way we can identify the missing values, and we can replace the missing value with some other value, mean value. Okay, we can perform the filtering also. Okay, before that, no, we are on fill now. Okay, to fill numeric NaNs with the column median. That means like we can use fillna function by filling the median value into that empty cell. Okay, and we can also take median value. For that, we have to write dot median. Okay, if there are some missing critical missing values that we don't want to include into the data set, so for that we will use dropna. So dot dropna is the function that we can use for dropping the particular row from the data set which is not critical value that need to be included, and it is already missing. And also we can remove duplicate rows from the data set. If some rows are written 2 times, 3 times, so these are the duplicate values. So we can remove these duplicate values by performing df.drop_duplicates. Okay, and then df.shape will give you the information about the shape of the data, like
So
what is
sorry to interfere in between. We are kind of visualizing some other folder right now. Dr. Mohini's folder is visible.
Who is Dr. Mohini?
I don't know, like it is visible for us. Your probably desktop is not visible. Dr. Mohini's folder is visible now.
But I am sharing my screen. I'm resharing, no problem.
नहीं sir, module 5 is showing.
This is okay. I stopped the sharing now.
Okay sir, reshare the folder.
Okay, I'm resharing now. Wait. So is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I was telling that we can handle the missing values into the data set by using this command. Like we can use dot fillna for filling the values. And this value can be median value or mean value. Okay. And if there is any duplicate row into the data set, we can use df dot drop underscore duplicates or df dot drop now. We can remove duplicate patient rows and we want to delete only the missing critical values. df dot dripna we can use. Now for performing the filtering and sorting into the grouping. Okay, that means we are providing some range of the values for performing the filtering. Okay, in that we can provide the filtering by using the conditions, like suppose df is the data set and df dot diabetic. Diabetic is the column value. Okay, that is a variable given into the data set and equals to yes, and df dot age is again a column name into the data set and greater than 60. Okay, so that will be that method or that concept we can use into the program by using Python programming into the data set to get the particular information. Like suppose we want to know only the person those age is greater than 60 and they are diabetic. We want to extract only those persons. So that extraction can be done using the filtering method. Okay. So for that we are having AND operator previously shown, the AND operator like AND or not. Okay. For if both are true, and into the AND operator there was condition. If both are true, then we can use AND operation. Okay. So that operator we are using AND operator for both the condition that is true. Okay. Next is we can see that like short the longest hospital stay first. Like who longest hospital stay first. So we can sort out the data set in terms of longest stay by getting this value using dot short underscore values. Dot short underscore values function can be used and ascending is equal to false. Okay, if it is true, so that means this will be the increasing order, and if false means that means it is a decreasing order. Or dot head 5 means we are looking only first 5 rows of the data set. And we also provide a grouping, like we can get the average BMI and glucose per department. So that is done with the help of grouping method. And grouping method, we can use df.groupby method. So we will see all the keywords also. So how these things can be done into the pandas. Starting from where we have left into this this website. Okay, so first we need to load the data file. We can load the data file using this method. Import pandas as PD and df is equal to pd.read underscore csv and single quote we can give the file name. Okay, so whatever the file name you have provided, that file name should be there. And .csv is the file format. And if you are converting this into the data frame like the string dot to string, so that's why it is written this. Otherwise, no need to write this. You can write df only. Okay, if I am writing df, so I will be able to get the information about this data set. Okay, so this is like 168 rows are there, 169 rows and 4 columns. Duration, pulse, maximum pulse, and calories. And this is showing two string means you are getting information of all the rows. Okay. When we were writing DFs, we are getting only the first 5 rows or around some limited rows. But when we are writing to a string, so it is defined for all the rows. So we can check the number of maximum return rows by using max underscore rows. So there is a function called max underscore rows. JSON file we can read by using pd.read underscore JSON. So these are the JavaScript file or some data file that is defined in terms of JSON dataset. So this we have done head and tail, head, tail to show the data in terms of first 5 rows for the head, tail for last 5 rows. Now .info will give you the information about the data set. Like what is the information means? How many rows, how many columns are there, how many rows are there, total entries, how many total entries are there. Okay, and like these are the column duration, pulse, max pulse, calories. And what are the type of these columns, column values? Integer type, float type. So we can get df.info. So this we can directly use into that also. Like this is the data.tail. So if I write data.info, so I can get this information for my data set. Okay. Now next we will be looking into the null values or how to clean the data. So data cleaning means like you are fixing the very big data into your data set by performing the coding. And in that data set, we can, this is the already given data set. I'm not performing on that. So we can get the information about the null values and we can find out the empty cells into the data sets. Okay. So empty cells, we can use .dropna function that will give you the empty in place is equal to true. That will give you the information about the missing values into the data set. And .fillna will give you will fill that value. Okay, .dropna, .fillna we have to remember. There are two function is used, .dropna and .fillna. That is used to identify the fill the missing values, or dropna to remove that particular row from the data set. Okay. So we can use this thing also into our data set. We can use, I can show you. Like suppose this is not our column. What are our columns? Like pregnancy, glucose. So suppose glucose information is missing. So I will write into the square bracket glucose using double quote dot mean. So what does it mean? I am finding the mean value of the variable glucose. Glucose is that. So I am finding the mean value of that column only. So glucose dot mean will give you the mean value as x, and then you are filling these values into the. So this means what you have done. You are getting the mean value. So you can show this value also if you want to check. what is the mean value of this glucose? Print X. Okay. Run. So that is the 120.8945. That is the mean value. But here you can see glucose is a type of integer. Okay. And what we are getting, that is the decimal value. So we can change the type also. We need to change like using int X. So now it is 120. Okay, you can take the help from this also if you don't know the coding, like check for missing values into the data set. You can see that dot is null dot sum function is used for checking the missing value. Data dot is null dot sum is showing the missing values. So there is 0. That means there is no missing value into the data set. All are filled correctly. Okay. Next, you can see the statistics summary statistics of the data set by using data.describe. Data.describe can give you the summary statistics of the data set. Like count, total number of count of this data, and mean value of all the variables, standard deviation, minimum value, 25%, 50%, 75% quartile range, maximum value we can get. Okay. And if suppose there is any value, missing value, we can use dot fill df dot fill. Maybe some data set has given the wrong data format. Okay, so we need to change that format. We need to process that format. So we can change the data format by using, suppose the date and time format are not correctly written here into this data set. So this is the date column, and some cells we can see written incorrectly into the date column. Okay. So we need to change this other format of the data set. We can remove this NaN, or we can write down some date into that column. And we can correct this column, that is at row number 26. So we need to do by using pd.to underscore date time df date format is mixed. So that is giving you NAT, that is natural number. So we can remove that rows with a null value into the date column, which is a null value. That means there is no NaN is written. That is not a number. So we can remove that value from the data set by using that dot remove function. Dot remove into the date. We can remove the duplicates. Suppose there is a same value into the same columns, but into the bioinformatics data there may be a same value. But so that's why we cannot use this removing this pre-processing step into the removing duplicates. Generally, we can remove by using dot remove, drop underscore duplicate or dot remove function we can use for removing the duplicate values from the data set. We can use this data correlation for finding the correlation between two variables and between two variables or between two columns name. So CORR is the correlation function that give you the similarity between the data set. And it is the range of the correlation function is from -1 to +1. If the value is 1, that is highly correlated, and if the value is -1, that is opposite. They are not correlated. Okay, after performing the pre-processing, there is a requirement to perform EDA on that data set. And EDA we can perform with the help of matplotlib library. With the help of matplotlib library, we can perform the EDA on the data set. EDA means exploratory data analysis, like creating that type of graphs, charts, and figures. So for that, we need to install that library, like using pip install matplotlib. So pip install matplotlib. Okay, we can install the matplotlib library for creating a different types of graphs and chart. And we can import this library by using import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Okay. Import is not written correctly. Matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Okay. So this library that is known as matplotlib library that will help us to create such type of graphs. And more beautiful, if we install another library that is known as Seaborn library, that is also help us to create more beautiful graph and charts. So how we can do that? For plotting the things, we need to understand this command known as plot command. So this simple plot command is used to create the diagrams. And we can also use pyplot, that is a submodule of the matplotlib library, for creating the figure. So I will use like df.plot to creating the figures and plt.show to display that figure on the output. Okay, first read the data and then create the plot and show that plot. So there can be different types of plots that we have already studied into the statistics and mathematics. So these plots all types of plots we can create into the matplotlib library. Okay, like suppose we want to create such type of plot that is known as scatter plot. And this is for between the duration and calories. So for that type of creation, we need to write df.plot. We need to provide the kind of the plot. Like kind is a scatter into the single quote scatter, comma, in between x and y. So x is what duration and y is what calories. Then plt.show will give you the result directly. And this is a histogram plot. Histogram plot can be created using the hist command. If we write kind is equal to hist, so that histogram plot will be created for the particular column name, and the column name is provided into the square bracket and included with the double quote. dot plot kind is equal to hist. So that type of plot will be created. So from that, we can see that this is a scatter plot. So more exercises I will show you on the pandas. Like this is created scatter plot between BMI versus glucose. That is how it is created. So it is created using the matplotlib library, and we can write plt.figure. Here we can provide the figure size like length and width, and then we need to create the figure for the scatter. So that's why we can write plt.scatter, and the data, which is already variable name of our file, and into that data there are column name like glucose and BMI. So data, we are creating the scatter plot between glucose and BMI. Okay, and we can provide a title into the image, or we can provide a title into this file using plt.title, and we want to show the label on axis, like x label we can provide, y label we can provide. Label values can be provided using that function plt.x label, and into the single quote we can give any name, and plt.y label we are into the single name, single quote we can give any name. And if we want to create this type of grids that is created into this graph, we can use split plt.grid tool, and we can provide a line styles of the grid as dash, and the information about this value. And if you don't want to create this grid, we can write false. Do not to create this. Okay. And we can create the histogram plot between glucose and the frequency of that glucose value, the value of the glucose. Okay, so first figure size is 10,6. That is the x-axis and y-axis ratio of the figure size. And this is the column name, which is into the data set glucose. And edge color is defined here as black. This is like defined already black. We can change, we can do this into the red or yellow. So we can change the colors also by providing by changing the setting of the color value. So this is now into the yellow. Okay, like green, yellow, red, cyan, magenta, we can provide any color. And if there is any different color, like okay. The color information chart is given. With the help of that chart, we can change the color of these graphs. we can create new columns into the data set. Okay. And that column can be created into the square bracket like this. So we need to identify that for what value we are creating a new column. Like here we have defined a function name BMI dot underscore band colon, and in that we have chosen some data. So this less than 18.5 will return the underweight, and less than 25 will return the normal, and less than 30 will return the overweight, else return obese. Okay. So because of that range that we have provided, we have created a new column name as BMI category with respect to BMI value or BMI band. So that we can do it with the help of Python programming for creating new columns or for identifying the new features from the data set. And we can create the charts with the help of matplotlib library. And we can get the information about the statistical plot. So that type of chart we can create easily, like histogram, box plot, bar chart, scatter plot, or heat map using the Python programming for the given data set. And after creating or performing the EDA, next thing will be to create the dashboard, like to create the visualization of all the graphs together. Okay, dashboard means if we change anything into the data set, the graph automatically will change. Okay, so that dashboard we can create using the plotly. Plotly command is there into the Python programming. Using the plotly, we can create the dashboard also. And dashboard will be looking like this. There are all things will be given into a single slide or single figure. And if we change the data set value, the current in a real time value, the graphs will also be changed. So we have seen like so many things related to that. Like we have seen the Google Colab, and we have seen the Jupyter Notebook. We have seen the VS Code where we can perform the coding and programming, and we understand the basic concept of the Python programming, like different types of variables, different types of data types. Okay, and also understand accessing these data types, and then we have come on the different types of library. Like we have seen the pandas, which is used to handle the different types of data sets, and then we have seen the matplotlib. Okay, so today we have covered these things, and into the next like tomorrow we will be doing some hands-on to related to the bioinformatics, because we have covered the basic things related to that. Okay, now next thing is to develop something. So that thing we will be developed into the next classes or next. I think tomorrow is the next session, and the session is starting from 12, ending at 2. So next session we will cover into the next day, and in that session we will be doing some hands-on exercises and also practicing the concept related to the bioinformatics field. So today, because it was the basic understanding related things, so that way I have not shown you so many things related to that, how the figures are created, how we can use these things into the bioinformatics. So in the next tomorrow we will cover that thing.
Sure, sir. Anyone if have any query regarding the session, please share their questions.
Yes, no question. I think programming ka tha thoda, like tomorrow, if they understand that how it is related to the bioinformatics, so they will be easily understand the things. So how the genome sequences they are getting from these coding. Okay, so tomorrow we will discuss, no problem. If
Okay.
anybody is having anything related to that or having any project related to that, they can share with me. I can discuss the project using the Python programming.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for insightful and engaging session. Your practical demonstration and comprehensive explanation of Python mainly, we see that Google Colab, Anaconda, VS Code, W3 Schools, Python, if loops, functions, pandas, VS Code. So these are the very valuable knowledge for us, and thank you so much, sir. We sincerely appreciate for graciously accepting our invitation and taking the time to join us today. And we would like to see you again tomorrow for your next session.
Yes, yes, sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
With this, we will conclude the day one of our faculty development program. Thank you to all our speakers and participants for making day's session highly interactive and successful. We look forward to welcoming you tomorrow at 11 a.m. for another exciting day of learning. Have a wonderful day, everyone.